All right. Let's move that camera. So, that's good. Talk. So it is Tuesday. Tuesday? Tuesday. Good and confused. So I think I'll work on. This one. Now. This week, I think it would be nice to kind of see, I guess, the direction I would take it, push it, so on. I think overall, most likely it's could be something interesting to look at. Hey, Lozanos, how's it going? What's up, Lozanos? And I feel the values, even though they are very much to the brighter side, I might need to adjust it at some point. Hey Zillian, Dr. Shellen, how's it going? Wanamir Levy, what up? How's it going? Yeah, like I said, I think I'll work on this one this week, just for, for fun. Unless you have some very specific complaints against it. Like, oh please, Bjorn, no, no. Me, I'm good. I'm good. I think I'm currently in a it's called lull. Creatively on my spare time. I haven't really done anything on my spare time. Mostly just kind of relaxing. I'm writing a movie script or a story for a movie now and then, based on real world experiences. That part is true though, even though I sound like an ass saying it. But yeah. But I haven't really, I feel like I don't have anything to say at the moment, creatively, on my spare time. Like I look at the personal sketches, the dark fantasy stuff and so on, and I feel like they're great in their own rights. Hey, these graphics. Oh man, thank you very much for that sub. Another one. It's 5 months of power right there. All those push-ups, amazing. Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like I don't have anything in particular to say, which is a bit weird. But it happens now and then that you gotta like accept it, that maybe you shouldn't force it out. Take a step back and ruminate over what's missing. Captain Baus Gria, what up? Ow! The one-man wolf pack right there. Yeah, exactly, Lozanos. That's one of the problems, is that, well, first of all, clients always instruct you what to do, right? But a lot of times in my line of work is I need to dictate everything. because I usually take so much on the shoulders that I need to solve it for them, right? And then they just go, oh yeah, they direct it afterwards, more or less. Of course, they do give me feedback, which is always great, but a lot of times it's visual problem solving from my end, right? And it takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of creative aspect where you start. I should start a timer. Where you start a lot, and it takes a lot out of you, and you start to kind of feel that all that effort takes a lot out of you, so that when it comes to your own time and effort and your project, it's easy to just go, oh, that you don't really want to. Lozano's. Well, yeah, but I think it's a way of getting inspired. At least that's how I see it. When I watch someone else's Twitch stream, it's like, oh yeah, that's nice. Like I should also, it's like looking over someone's shoulder at work. Well, thank you very much, Invis Graphics. I really appreciate it. And it sounds like it's just something you say, you know, like a throwaway comment. But I truly do appreciate it. I mean, you could have easily not have done it. And like you say, it's not something you do. So I really appreciate it. And thank you very much for that support. And it does mean a lot. Hey, Iglesias, how's it going? Well, yeah, but exactly, Wanamir and Lozanos is like the limitations you are given by an art director gives you a scope for creativity, and if you're doing your personal project and you don't feel like, oh shit, what should I do? What should I say? You know, the world is infinite. I think that is also a problem by itself of how you're thinking. I mean, me included, is that you think of all the things in the world, what should I say? You know, then you're searching for everything to find something that speaks to you, which it should be the other way around, right? It's like, I will have something to say, what can I make fit into that, rather, or what can I filter with that? So I think, much like I should also do, is take a step back, which I've done, which I'm not doing any work because I feel like it's pointless. Or my spare time. I mean, obviously, professional work is getting, it's getting done. But personal art and of that voice aspect, I feel like there's no need to push it. There's no need to rush it. I don't need to be performing for the sake of performance, because no one expects anything from me other than interesting artwork. So by that, I try to remind myself, like, there's no competition on who creates an image first. In this instance, it's about what am I saying as an artist. So maybe I'm not having anything to say at the moment. Maybe it's okay not to do anything, It's easy to feel guilty that you're not being creative. But I can create an illustration easy. But it's not that. It's not the technical challenge of creating something. It's the fact that I feel like there's no point behind it. There's no opinion. There's nothing I want to communicate, which is, is important. Iglesias, yeah, it is. I started it, I think yesterday, on stream. I did an extra stream in the morning yesterday. So if you want to watch it, on VOD on Twitch. I'm still playing around with it. I'm still kind of, measuring, if you may. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. There's a lot of things I want to change. But I've put it down placeholders, and I've defined the placeholders, and I feel at the moment I'm kind of working through them. And yeah, it is the topic of a journey to another world. I thought, now that everyone has submitted their entry, I want to give it a go, because I was thinking about daylight situations and how I would have tackled it, and it intrigued me. Hello, English. It intrigued me seeing all the entries, and I was like, oh yeah, that's a cool solution. That's an interesting solution. There's an odd choice of colors, and so on, so on, so on. And I thought, hey, let's see what my mind makes up. So I just kind of went with my gut reaction with the first thumbnail. And I'm also doing it on stream for you guys. I think it could be interesting, for the same reason that I found everyone's submissions interesting. You might find it interesting to look at mine. Iglesias, Miguel. Well, yeah, it can happen. I mean, I'm not saying that you're correct in your statement, but that I understand your feelings. Amir, yeah, that's one good thing about the warm-ups is that it gives you a reason, a point to make, right? The point is not the topic, because it's a randomized, right? The point of doing the warm-up is to exercise. So in that way, it makes things a lot easier, cleaner, and easier to grasp, right, or tackle. But for me, a lot of the things with my warm-ups is that after the warm-up, they feel pointless, unless I come up with a good idea that inspires me. And again, I think that's great, like you say, Amir. It is a bit random, and it pushes you to do random things, and I think that's also a great way to find inspiration in randomness, in chance, right? But what I feel like a lot of times when you're doing your own project, I'm going to talk about it this year at IFCC. I think I'm quite sure of it. I need to start working on the lecture, but it's going to be about art directing yourself, about how to deal with more or less what we're talking about now: inspiration, focus, funneling the ideas and worlds into a direction. I think a lot of it comes down to, like, the whole thing about, everything in the world, how easy it is to get lost in it, and one of the big parts of it, which makes everything hard, is that internet and social media and seeing everyone else's work can easily make us move our own goalpost, be inspired by something new. and then go, oh, that's a great idea, how can I use it? And then you try to fit it in, and then you go, oh, that's another cool idea, how do I how do I use it? And it's the opposite. Like you're over creative. You're pushing things too far. There's no direction. There's no filtering. There's no one saying, hey, calm down. You know, this is a little bit too crazy. And I think we do a lot of that by default when we are inspired and we are in the zone and we are enjoying being creative, and we have a strong mind and a focus on what needs to be done, and a lot of it is technical after the point of creation. You know, like this. Like I've created this painting, right? I tried early on to capture the idea. What is the idea behind the painting? That's where, you know, the thumbnail comes in, and you know, I think naturally you start to create a narrative and place things to enhance the narrative. Hey, Woody Breakfast, how's it going? You got your number 9. Yeah, I know. I saw that it was missing, so I added it. In with graphics. What do you mean if I'm still going to do the character design thing? Would you mind to elaborate? Amir, well, yeah, well, the thing is I don't think Amir, what do you mean about of what's good? As in good ways of doing it? Yeah, I guess you're saying another way of getting a grasp of what's good. I think the thing is what you gotta I think let me try to think about that. Make a point. Of Voodoo Breakfast, the topic is the round 3 topic, Journey to Another World. I painted it yesterday, and I'm working on it this week to just kind of show how I would have done it for fun, you know, not to. I was just inspired by it. I mean, yeah, exactly. Invis Graphics. Yeah, that talk I'm gonna make here on my Twitch channel at some point. I keep saying I will do it, but I might as well just start doing it, just without slides, without anything, and just talk about it. Might be better. Amir, yeah, well, I think it's about practice. There's one big reason. A lot of people have a hard time pulling back or pushing further. I think one of the bigger issues is I see in a lot of people in a lot of people's art direction or direction in themselves in how they do their own art is yeah. It's not a simple answer. I think that's the problem. I think one of the things that I notice a lot of people do is that yeah, I'm trying to make a not sound like an asshole. There's a lot of immaturity. I think there's a lot of immaturity in sense of artistic expression, and there's and in a lot of artists that stand out in the industry that are you can call by name, but then everyone will more or less understand what you're talking about. Is a lot of those people have decided on what they like on more than one level. Like, let's say there's one artist called Dave Palumbo, right? He paints a lot of naked women in very interesting ways. Like, he paints them with floral patterns, like camouflaged into their body, and it's beautiful. And then you have another artist, like, what's his name, Ravenue Pierre, if that's him. One of, like, a French artist that does like a very heavy fantasy stuff, and he also paints kind of naked women. But you can put those two next to each other and they're completely different, yet both of them have an identity. Like, you can see it's Dave's, or if that's Pierre, I don't remember. I'm sorry, my name word. My memory is shit. He does like illustrations for his own IP, which is Gods. If that's him, I don't remember. Shit. Anyways, you can pick them apart, but it's the same topic, right? It's the same, and a lot of them agree. Cheers. Both of them take photos, their own references, right? They use photos that they take themselves. They paint a lot of women in very similar. If you write down how they pose them, I would say you wouldn't know the difference. Like, so for the checklist, you wouldn't know the difference if you just wrote it down on paper. Like, half-naked women in interesting poses, dramatic lighting, textural, and you would go like, who's who? Like, both are the same artist. But then I think what makes it interesting beyond that point is the fine tuning of decision making. Like, let's say Pierre poses them slightly differently this way, while Dave poses them differently that way, and just that decision is different. And those decisions are done, I think, on many levels, emotionally, as they're taking the reference shot. So they feel what feels right, and that is practiced through, the arts, what looks good, what feels good, what the lighting conditions are, and in their conscious decisions, making those decisions, or subconsciously, like, oh, I should maybe move, or I mean, not subconsciously, consciously, like, move the camera, set the scene up so when he shoots the reference, he'll get what he somewhat needs from from the material, right? So it's not like he just randomly like click, okay, I'll make something out of it. I don't care. It's with purpose, right? It's with focus, and that like little step is a huge step because it leans on taste, style, experience, technical experience, artistic experience. But that's only like step one of the whole creative process, right? And then the another layer that comes on top of that is the purpose of it. Right? He might know, oh, this is going to be one of the gods of this faction, you know, Pierre might think, and then those have artistic decisions like limitations on top where it can't go. This has to be gold with white flowing fabric and so on and so on, and that changes the scene. While, for example, Dave might have an absolutely different second step, but he still takes the reference the same way as Pierre does, with knowledge, with skills, experience, and so on and so on. But his goal might be, you know, that he has an idea he's building up towards. Like, oh, I had this crazy idea about disappearing silhouettes with a floral pattern. I wonder if I could make that work with realism. So he goes towards that direction completely differently, but like fundamentally it's the same thing. And I think that's a really fascinating aspect of art directing, especially when you're doing it yourself and where you're at a level where you have to make those decisions and where they really make a difference. Hey, Confate, cheers for those bits. Thanks. I think there's not a lot of bits flying around in here, so cheers for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, so as I was saying, and when there's a rookie artist or beginner artist, or however you want to phrase it, that trying to figure out what's good, what's bad, what do I want to say, what's the purpose of this, and so on. I think, as an example, Pierre would also struggle with the idea, what do I want to say, what do I want to create? You know, same as I feel at this very moment. Like, oh, personally, there's nothing really I want to express. I mean, I could make something I want to express, like, oh, I want to test a technique, and then I could start building the project based on that basic idea. And sometimes you get like a compound idea of multiple levels or layers of an idea. It's like, oh, daylight with like a tree creature standing on a rooftop, or you know, there's a tree on a rooftop over there. But you know, like how, oh, that's a great idea, and then you start twisting all the knobs to get towards that direction, and but one thing that I feel is a really important thing to remember is that hey, limp on you. I don't know what you're talking about. Hey, the shoe thief, how's it going? Like, one thing that you got to remember is that having something to say, like in our illustration wise or project wise, doesn't necessarily need to be any grand gesture or a grand plan, like, oh, I want to fight against the oppression of my people. And then this is the one illustration that's going to communicate that flawlessly. I mean, it could be as easy as, or as basic as, I want to see how well I can do a painting about interaction of two people. Like, how can I express the two people next to each other, or make them interact in an interesting way? I mean, that could be something to say, right? And then you can start questioning how to go about it. What tools should I use? What's the overall stylistic direction I want to go? Line art, paint, grayscale, Oh, Limpa, yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, the in-game, or in-app advertisement in Photoshop. Yeah, I want that, please. Well, yeah. So you can start configuring the expression, right? The things you want to say with, let's say that the topic of, I want to see how I can make interaction of two people. You could just go, all right, I'll paint it, and do your best in an evening and see what comes out, and either you like it or not. But when it comes down to that, I think it's going to be about what's in your mind, subconscious. I don't think if you're just going to go with gut reaction, it's never going to be, you're going to make it up as you go along. And it's not going to be as a clean or it's going to be a very random process. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's wrong way of doing it. It's a way of doing it. And I feel like the situation I am in, where I feel that it's all very, I don't have anything to say, it's because I think there is too much randomness. There's too much, I'll just draw this, and technical exercise in pursuing an art direction of an idea. Let's take the Moth Queen. Like, okay, how do I get it to finish line? All right, I need to do these colors, these changes, this style, whatever. And I know exactly where to go to get it done. And when I've done now, 20? They're starting to feel a little bit rinse repeat, because there's no point in them other than exercise in style and practicing art direction. And it's like I tried to explain the difference between Pierre and Dave. This sounds like a sex ed class. Pierre and Dave, the example of Pierre and Dave. But I think in order to be creative and feel like there's something to say about it, there's some point to make, yeah, it's about being intrigued. I think it's about being intrigued by something, challenged by something, the sense of I think this might actually vary a lot between people. is it the end product or the creative process that is the expression, is the having something to say? And I think it also it muddies everything even more so when it, like, you're a production artist, you're creating something that is bigger than just one part. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point, about the technical aspect. Uh, but then art is just also art. You should feel things. I mean, I think when it comes down to that, you have to separate it, and you have to. I think it's multiple layers. Again, it's not this easy answer, but I think it's about setting yourself up for success by constructing more or less a checklist, like you say, light, composition, shapes, and you set it up in a way where that is not the part of your expression. You're it's like me talking, right? I'm not having to figure out how to make sentences, even though occasionally I need to choose the words I'm choosing, modulate my voice. All of that comes automatically. But I've had to learn how to speak. I've had to learn the words. I've had to learn how to, blah blah blah, and then I can just talk. I think it's the same thing. I think that's why there's a lot of effort on technique and so on, because you can pinpoint it. And then, as I see it, as I experienced with life experience or work experience as a art director, you've learned all the moves, and you can focus on the finer details, the expression, the filtering. Like I've talked about this as well yesterday about studies, and studying someone else's painting is that you're studying their filter of reality as well. And I think there is where the fun of expression comes from, because when you're reacting and just painting what you feel, creating art for art, like Gria said, you are just expressing, and you're not thinking about technique, and you're making something that's emotionally attractive to you. And the better you are technically, I think the more aware you are, and the more ability you have to separate the two. Like, technique is not the same as expression. I think that might make sense. Comfort share channel, sure, but what is self? Or, it all stemmed from me saying that I don't have, this discussion stemmed from me saying I don't have a feeling of wanting to express something. That's why I'm not painting anything on my private time. And I've tried to solidify it. Why is that? How is that? Gria, yeah, exactly. It's practice. It's practice. Like I said, the more you do it, the less you think about technique. The more you can think about expression. Like, as an example, it's a bit random, but I was painting on this guy yesterday, and I wasn't concerned about planes, perspective, color, so on, so on. At this point, I was just okay. How do I want him? You know. Oh, that's a fun shape. That looks like a dad shape. You know, I wasn't worried like, is this the right color? What, should it be gray? Should it be white? Yeah, I think it's an interesting topic, and I'm going to try to solidify it at IFCC on my lecture there. And clearly, I'm not done thinking, but I think it's a compound question. Hey Kirill, how's it going? All right, let's raid someone. Any suggestions? Hey, Quo. Welcome to the end. Should we dive into the art category? Let's dive into the art category. Oh yeah, let's rate that one. Oh, maybe not. Mm. Just tits. Every channel there's tits. That looks cool. Who are you? You speak Korean, but maybe we can enjoy the art. It looks pretty dope. Is he doing a study? Oh yeah, he is. Maybe not that. Slim pickings. Art study. Someone else doing studies. No, this looks pretty cool. Let's rate that person. All right, everyone. Let's do the raid and check out, surprise this person. Have a great day. Good night. Hopefully, the whole rant about I think it was a weird discussion, but at some point it made sense, I hope. Have a great one, everyone. Good night. Have a great day. As per usual, I'm going to take us to the raid after the outro, so stay tuned. See you tomorrow morning. Bye.